you can solve your baby's reverse cycle feeding. And for those that don't know, reverse cycle feeding is when your baby is feeding more and more and more overnight and then less inclined to feed during the day because they rely on the calories overnight. When ideally, we want our babies to really start tanking up during the day and naturally start to wean overnight feeds. And it's a really common and easy habit and pattern to fall into, particularly if you've got multiple overnight wakings that you then feed back to sleep, and then that feed gets a little bit bigger, and then there's more wakings, and then there's more feeding, and then come 7 a.m. baby's not hungry, and they kind of just sneaky snack during the day, and then you worry they're not getting enough, so every time they wake you know that they need to feed, and they're going to scream the house down unless they get that feed, and so the cycle continues. You need to move away from snack feeding during the day, which usually means we need to move away from feeding to sleep for naps, because we want to be able to be sure that your baby is taking a complete and full feed, whether that's breast or bottle. It does not bother me. But babies that feed to sleep usually just take what they need in order to drift off, and we want your baby to devour that feed so that they start to be able to space their feeds a little bit more during the day, require less overnight before we've even done any kind of resettling. And then you can feel confident to say, okay, we're not feeding 10 times overnight. We're going to bring that down to 2. So let's use a 7-month-old baby on 3 naps, for example. I would have you feeding 4 hourly during the day at set times. And I would then mirror that for overnight, meaning you'll be feeding 4 hourly. No need for anything cold turkey. For every other overnight waking, for the bedtime, you don't even have to sleep train. You're just going to do something other than feed, because it's usually just stretching that first feed, even from overnight, where baby thinks, oh great, now I get to really take a big full feed, rather than just snack, 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 snack. And then you get to 7 a.m. and baby's gone a 4-hour stretch, and already they have greater interest at the breast or the bottle. They start to take more. And usually within 24, 48 hours, sometimes even just that first stretch, a baby has now adapted to the new feeding program. And when I tell you that this is one of the biggest game changers for the families that I work with, I am not lying. Before we even get to sleep training, I start with feeds. We reshape the day. We redistribute calories. We are not dropping feeds. We are giving them back to the day. And we do it in a way that feels sustainable for you as the mother, or the father, or the grandparent, whoever is doing the feeding. Because I want you to be able to go into the night knowing very clearly what is a feed and what is a reset. And that's how we break out of the reverse cycle feeding situation. And if that all sounds a little bit complex because you're tired, I also understand that. That's why I have a membership. I also run 2 weeks of virtual group sleep training. We will cover all of that. All of my guides and courses have how to wean overnight feed. So head to the link in my bio, choose your own adventure, and start getting better sleep.